Please note, the PTE exam material we provide in our YouTube channel is 99.9% repeated in the real PTE exam. It is advised you to practice the weekly as well as monthly prediction videos, according to your exam date, from our channel to get the same material in your exam. Wish you best of luck. Ready to start. 3, 2, 1.
Thermodynamics is the science of the flow of heat. So, thermo is heat, and dynamic is the motion of heat. Thermodynamics was developed largely beginning in the 1800s, at the time of the Industrial Revolution. So, taming of steel. The beginning of generating power by burning fossil fuels. The beginning with the problems with CO2 and global warming. In fact, it's interesting to note that the first calculation on the impact of the CO2 on climate was done in the late 1800s by Arrhenius. Beginning of a generation of power moving heat from fossil fuels to generating energy, locomotives, etc. So, he calculated what would happen to this burning of fossil fuels, and he decided in his calculation, he basically got the calculation right, by the way, but he came out that in 2000 years from the time that he did the calculations, human would be in trouble. Absolutely. There's a lot of interest in what forms those clouds. Why are those clouds there, why do they stick around? At the center of every cloud drop is a particle. You can't grow a cloud drop without having a particle there for the water to condense on. The key questions that people have not directly addressed until very recently is what actually forms those clouds. And so the ones that you're looking at over the ocean, it turns out sea salt is a very effective nucleator for forming clouds, so there's a really good chance that those are loaded with sea salt. But as you go inland you start to have pollution come from all different kinds of sources, and so different sources form clouds more effectively than others. And we're trying to unravel which sources are actually contributing to the clouds. The clouds are incredibly important players in climate change in that they reflect the light back to space, and so they're keeping things much, much cooler than they would be if they weren't there. They also play a huge role in regional weather. So we're actually starting to see shifts where having more pollution input into the clouds is affecting weather patterns, and in particular it's actually reducing the amount of precipitation, so we're starting to see drought in areas with super high levels of air pollution.
In the early years of ATM machines, there were many complaints with the ATMs. The machine was programmed to allow a customer to collect their money first and then take their card. However, this made many people forget their cards, and it was a worrying issue because anyone could have access to one's bank account. Now, in the UK, the ATM machines have been reprogrammed so that customers will take their card first and then collect their money. As a result, it will be less likely for them to forget the money since that was the main reason for them to use an ATM. Although, people sometimes still forget to take their money. It is more catastrophic to lose your card because it can access your bank account.
So, we were founded just over 10 years ago, when I was in the Royal Academy, a museum in the centre of London, with my 3 children, at the Aztec exhibition. I don't know if any of you saw it. I had an older child and 2 younger children, twins, strapped in a pushchair, and one of my children, 3 years old, shouted, and I've never denied he shouted, "Monster, monster." At this statue, which looked just like a monster, had snakes for hair, a big beak for a nose. And, I thought, this is fantastic. I've got a 3-year-old that's appreciating art. How good can it get? So, I bent down and I said, yes, it looks just like a monster, and, at that moment, a room warden came over, a gallery assistant came over and said we were being too noisy, and threw us out to the wrong family. I was, at that time, a journalist with the Guardian newspaper, and 2 days later wrote a big piece in the Guardian about being thrown out of the Royal Academy. What was really interesting was, by the end of that day, we had, at the paper, over 500 emails from other families saying, museums aren't working for us. Let's try and make it work. So, that's what we did. In The Guardian, we set up a campaign. We called it the Kids in Museums campaign, but it didn't really exist. It was just a few pages. We ran loads of stories on it. I began touring the country talking about how to make your museum family friendly.
The Western countries' women are becoming more and more reluctant to give birth to babies. However, the male's status in society remains as strong as it ever has in recent years. The birth rates increased during 20th century, but it starts to decrease over these last 2 decades. In the year 2000, as an example, the birth rate remained at around 1%. There are even some negative birth rates in other countries. Birth rates dropped to its lowest point that has never been seen in the society. It also has impacts on male in the society, especially young man. And it might have some connection with unemployment rates as well.
Subscribe our channel to get weekly and monthly PTA exam predictions, according to your exam date. Please like, comment and share this video. Your appreciation is biggest motivation for us. See you in next video.